Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Loose Transistor channel. I'm your host Lucas and we are out here again today to do another build and review series, continuing on with the FPV Syndicate Shredder that we just finished building. So today we're out here today to just do some tuning. We're going to try out and see how far we can push the tune. We're going to do PT1 and all that good stuff and see if we can get this guy locked in and see how easy or hard it is to do the actual tuning. The build itself was super easy, no problems at all, everything fit. There's tons of space on that stack. My stack is super tall because I'm using bobbins and gummy, so this thing is super soft mounted. Tons of space in there and everything is super well protected by this canopy. Like literally the camera lens, everything is super well protected in there. My VTX03 antenna is back here and this will never really get caught by the prop. So I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. This is going to be a great racer because the thing that most takes me out of races is crashing and then ESCs get fucked up or some other piece of electronic gets screwed up, and in this drone right here everything is extremely well protected and it feels very light. I think with the battery it was like 530 grams, so pretty exciting. We're also going to test out these new Raystar motors that we have here that I have not seen. So these are the BR 2306 2400. We have the BL Heli 32-bit ESCs to test out right now and the Omnibus F7, and everything here has been conformal coated so it's ready to go for the rain as well. Alright guys, so what we're going to do right now is a maiden. We're just going to fly it around. You guys are going to get to see the DVR footage. I don't have any HD installed on this guy right now, and since it's a pure racer I'm probably not going to. So enjoy the DVR and let's check out the maiden.
So unfortunately I have a confession to make, and I didn't actually press record on my DVR when I did the maiden. So my bad guys, I don't actually have a video of the maiden, but as best I can describe it in terms of flying is that the default PIDs actually felt pretty good. The quad was fairly stable, however there was a lot of bounce back on any sort of flip and roll, like pretty excessive. It would bounce around a lot. And there was a bit of prop wash, especially when decelerating very quickly or taking very quick 180s. So I knew this was not going to be the right tune, but we're going to jump in right now into doing all the PT1 and all that filtering. So we'll talk about it later.
So racecraft, super quiet, man. Okay, so let me just take a quick look here. We are using Betaflight 3.2 configurator. And let's take a look at the quick PID tuning. So the PIDs are on P for roll is 40, pitch is 58, yaw is 70, which is the stock Betaflight. And then in I we have 40 for pitch, 50 for roll, 45 for yaw. And then derivative we have 30 for roll and 35 for pitch. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop the derivative down to 10 on both. So derivative down to 10. Perfect. So we drop it all down. And now what we're going to do is actually enable PT1. Save that. Go to CLI. So we do a get low pass. That's going to show us what we have. So determ low pass type is set to biquad, so we're going to set that to PT1. So determ, so set determ low pass type equals PT1. Get low pass just to confirm. Set to PT1. We save that. Okay, so we have saved it. We have PT1 enabled. I'm just going to check one more time here on the CLI because I don't trust 3.2. So get low pass. Yep, PT1, we're good. So we're going to do now, we're just going to do a quick 1 minute flight, very slow, very nice and easy, just to make sure that the motors stay cool, and then we will go from there.
So the first thing I noticed when I enabled the PT1 was that the quad felt shaky, and you can see it in the footage there too. It's shaking a little bit, some mid-throttle oscillations. So at first it didn't seem like a good sign. I thought maybe this build's not going to work out for this, but it felt okay to fly. It felt a little bit shaky. The sticks didn't quite feel that right. But I decided to keep going anyway and check the motor temperature because we can always tune that stuff out later. So this is in stock tune and PT1 enabled.
Hey guys, so we just got back from the PT1 flight. The motors are slightly warm, nothing too crazy. It is a hot day today and it's very humid. It's about to storm, so that could have some effect in it as well. But we're going to keep going. So now we're going to fly this thing full tilt with PT1 enabled and check out the motors in about a minute as well. So here we go.
On this flight where I'm pushing PT1 a little bit harder, it's even more evident how bad and the shortcomings of this tune are right now. It feels really choppy. The sticks are responding a little bit sluggishly to what I'm trying to do, and there's prop wash everywhere. You can hear it when the quad is flying by. You can hear it on turns, you can hear it on any quick direction changes. It's there, and it's super annoying. It's flyable, but it's not quite there yet.
Okay guys, so we just got back from ripping PT1 for a minute just to make sure that the motors are not getting hotter. Not bad, still about the same. So what I'm gonna do now is turn off notch 1. We're gonna try the same thing again with notch 1 disabled, and once we get that all sorted, then I'm gonna start tuning. So notch 1 is going to be turned off right now because PT1 was no problem. Oh, another thing I should mention, guys, is that I have anti-gravity turned on to 2.5 on this guy, because it's just a habit I've gotten into most of the quads with big motors.
Once I disabled the first notch filter and fluid, I actually noticed a remarkable difference already. The quad sounded better, there was less prop wash, and the sticks felt right. They were responding the way I expect them to respond now. So I believe that the PT1 plus the extra filtering was actually getting in the way of the quad flying nicely.
Wow, almost no prop wash. Okay, so let's land this guy and see where we're at. So with notch 1 turned off, I'd actually say that my motors got a little bit cooler, which I guess it makes sense because there's less filtering going on, so it's not fighting the quad so much. So I'm gonna turn off notch 2 right now, or actually no, we're gonna rip this guy as it is right now and make sure that nothing blows up, and then we're gonna do notch 2. So here we go.
In this flight, I'm trying to push the quad a little bit harder and see if I can bring out some prop wash, and there is some, it's just a little bit, and it's actually not bad. You can totally go and just tune it from here on out and have no problem, and I can already see an improvement on the rolls and on the flips, but I think I'm gonna still go ahead and do the whole like disable notch 2 as well, because there's probably some gains to be had there too. Just on that maneuver over there, when it came to a rest, the bounce back was a lot better already than it was with just PT1 enabled. So the filtering definitely was getting in the way of the quad flying well, and like it feels a lot better already. It's responding well, and it only has like pronounced prop wash when you're really changing directions radically, which is to be expected because we haven't really tuned anything yet.
All right, so let's take a look here. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. It's not super hot or anything yet. Okay, cool. We've gotten here. Now what we're gonna do is turn off notch 2. We're gonna set notch 2 to 0. And then we're gonna do the same 2 tests again, make sure that nothing blows up. And then we're gonna start pushing the P gains. And we'll see how far we can get with that. Alright guys, so we're just going to do a 1 minute easy flight with PT1 right now just to make sure that it works, and then we'll go from there. Or sorry, actually we're doing a flight because we turned off notch 2, so very slow notch 2.
So now we're flying it with notch 2 disabled, and some of those oscillations are still there. We're going to tune those out later, but it feels good. The motors haven't warmed up between the 2 tests or anything like that. I like it with the notch 2 disabled. It was maybe a minor improvement over notch 1 disabled, but it's something that you can feel. Like the prop wash is definitely reduced a tiny bit. It's still there on big drops, but we'll tune that out later.
So that felt pretty good. Almost no prop wash or anything like that. Like it felt pretty nice to fly. Motors still feel okay. So we're gonna rip it hard, finish this battery, and then we're gonna start pushing the P gains, and that's where the magic's gonna happen, guys.
So I'm feeling pretty confident that my motors are not gonna blow up, so I'm feeling willing to like push this thing a little bit. So I'm testing flips and rolls here to see how they feel. Not quite right. There's a lot of bounce back, especially on the pitch axis, so we're gonna have to do some adjustments there. Yeah, see, it's pretty brutal over there, and it just overall feels loose. I mean, it goes where I want it to, but you can kind of see it wobbles as you go there, so you have to do a lot of corrections. So I'm testing pitch and roll. They feel okay, but they would probably be a little bit sharper. Prop watch is not bad though. Like you can hear it and you can see a tiny bit of it, but it's not as bad as a lot of rigs I've seen out there, and even some of my earlier builds, like they had a lot more prop wash. So it feels pretty good to fly though, and I think this would be okay for a lot of people, and that's awesome. I want to see if we can get rid of all this bounce back and just get it smoothed out, and maybe get rid of some of this mid-throttle oscillations that I see there too. I think that just a little bit of TPA at the right throttle point should be able to fix that. So as you can see, it's pretty horrible when I'm trying to flip it. It's not even flipping to the right place. I think that's because the P gains are just too low and it's not flipping fast enough. I'm used to faster P gains, so usually it just does a full rotation.
Alright guys, so we just ripped it, nothing set on fire. Motors feel fairly warm, not bad considering that it is a very hot day today. So we're gonna start tuning it, and we'll see how it goes from there. It felt a little bit loose on rolls and flips and stuff like that, like it's bouncing back a lot. So the first thing I'm gonna do is probably crank up P on pitch and see how that goes. So let's take a look here where we're at, and I'll let you guys know what I'm doing. The sun is coming out too, so I'm not sure how much longer I'll be able to sit out here. So our P's at 40 on roll, 58 on pitch. So I'm gonna go 60 on roll, and integrals I'm gonna leave at 60 because that's what usually I leave them all at, 60, 60, 60. I'm gonna leave yaw alone at 70 because that's usually not something I touch very much, and derivative is gonna stay at 10. So we have 60 on roll, 60 on pitch, and we'll see how that feels.
So with the higher P gains, the quad is starting to feel a little bit sharper. The bounce back is still present, and it looks like there's oscillations there, but it's not quite as high as I usually would consider high. Remember, derivative is pretty low right now. So the flips and rolls do feel a little bit better. There's still pretty much no prop wash. I'm really trying my best here to get some prop wash, and it's not bad. So we're gonna push probably a little bit harder just to start really getting some oscillations, and then we'll back down from there and see where we end up. But this is not terrible. Pitch still a little bit of bounce back, but not terrible.
Motors feel okay. So let's change the PID here. I'm gonna go up to 70, see if we can bring out the oscillations then, and then we'll back it up from there. It's a second for this to connect on the new BL Heli. I don't know why, it's kind of annoying, but no big deal, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna run 70 on roll, 70 on pitch, everything else stays the same. We'll see how it feels. Alright, here we go.
So in this flight, you can clearly see that I've pushed it a little bit too far. There's a lot of oscillations when the quad moves around, like the treetops are shaking a little bit every time you stop. And the quad doesn't sound great. There's some warbles as you're flying around. I can bring out a little bit more prop wash, even though the video doesn't show it that well. There's definitely some shaking every time I do one of those stops. But the quad feels extremely responsive, like holy crap. The sticks they feel super sharp, and I kind of like it. For a racer, maybe I could even just leave it like this because it is a racer, but I think I should probably bring it down a little bit, because if I'm ever flying this thing in the wind, or I don't know, a few weeks down the line after I crashed it a bunch of times, this tune's going to be too sharp for it already. So especially there, do you see how it kind of stops and shakes? So we've reached the upper limit. We're going to back it down from here and start sprinkling some derivative to bring everything together.
Alright, so we're getting closer. That might be actually too high. Motors are a little bit hot, a little bit hotter than I'd like. So I'm gonna back this down a little tiny bit. 68 on roll. Actually, I'm gonna do 67 on roll. 69 on pitch right now. And I'm gonna turn up derivative to 20 on both.
The squad is feeling pretty good at this point. The derivative cleaned up a lot of the prop wash and a lot of the bounce back that was going on, but it's still I think we can get it a little bit better. There's still a bit of bounce that I'm not liking there, so what we'll probably do is play around with D and increase it just a little bit, and I'm probably gonna bring down the P gains like another couple points because the quad sound is not a very happy sound. It still has a little bit of the warbles when you go around like corners like that, so it's not quite right yet. It's still pushing a little bit too hard. If we drop it a little bit, it'll be fine. But overall, it feels really nice to fly. It's predictable and it's staying on course the way that I would want an ideal quad to fly like. So I would be pretty happy to leave it like this right now. But we can just push it a little bit more, do a few more tweaks. And this is something that I end up tweaking when I fly every now and then. I'll either increase D or decrease D a little bit depending on how the quad feels that day or how my motors are, because over time your motors will wear out and you'll have to adjust your PID gains to keep the same tune. It's just not something, it's something that's organic, that's always going to evolve on your quad.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. So I think we're getting very close here to the tune that I want. We're going to add a tiny bit more derivative, just a tiny little bit, to see if that cures my bounce backs. That's like the last thing that I'd like to get rid of. And after that, I think I'm pretty happy with this, especially for a racer. This is like tuned very, very, very well. Was not hard to tune at all. It's only taking me like 4 batteries right now, so that's really not bad. Okay, so all I did was increase derivative on both axes to 24. Just a little bit added there, just to see if that'll cure my bounce backs. And if not, I might come back with a little bit more P, but we're pretty close here, guys.
This flight here actually felt pretty nice. There's still a tiny bit of bounce back that kind of bothers me a little bit, but it's not terrible. And this is a racer. I'm not really going for freestyle here, so I have to keep that in mind. For flying around and racing with this thing, it feels great. Like, it feels really planted, and it's following my commands exactly like I would expect it to, and it feels like it has a ridiculous level of control, which I really like. I'm not sure if this is just a tune. I've noticed that the RK props, the 5051s, they really feel nicely controlled at mid throttle, which is great, and you can very easily navigate your quad around. So I really enjoyed the process of tuning this quad because it was actually pretty easy. It only took maybe 3 or 4 batteries total after we did all the PT1 stuff. You have to do your due diligence there because you don't want to burn up your motors, so it's better to take the extra time and burn up a couple batteries, making sure that you're not burning up your motors, than to regret it later because you pushed it too far and the whole thing smoked up on you. So be careful with that. But anyway, PT1 and notch filtering is being turned off, fly really, 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 really nicely. At some point, I need to stop being lazy and actually start logging black box logs and going through and tuning the notch filters properly instead of actually just removing them altogether. I think that there is possibly a better performance to be had by doing that instead of just literally disabling them. And I'm not sure yet how PT1 will impact, let's say, the longevity of my builds. Like, am I going to have to replace motors more frequently because of PT1, because my tunes just won't hold, and then it'll just be a crap warble-tastic quad to fly after a few months? I don't know. So I'll hopefully find out and let you guys know what my experiences are with PT1. But so far, all my quads are running PT1, and I'm very, very happy with how it flies. I did a video too on how this quad flies with D-Shot 1200, and the biggest difference that I noticed was just that it lessened the prop wash. It didn't change anything about your bounce back or anything like that, and like the feel of the quad was mostly unchanged, but I couldn't get prop wash out of it. Like, I was really, really, really trying, and it was a very windy day that day, and I still couldn't really get much prop wash out of it. I'll give some credit to that, to the RK 5051s as well, because so far in my experience they've been like pretty wash free props, and I really like that. So anyway, guys, I'll let you guys have the final notes here and some freestyle, and enjoy the rest.
Alright guys, so there you have it. I think this is the tune that I've been looking for. I just ripped the shit out of this thing here for a few minutes and pushed it pretty hard, and yeah, the motors are warm, but I wouldn't say that this is bad. It's not that bad at all. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think we've gotten to the tune that I was looking for this guy. We ended up with a 67 on pitch and roll, 70 on yaw, 60 across the board on I for all the other ones, because that's just how I like my quads to feel. And derivative was 24, and that just seems to be just enough to keep everything nice without burning up the motors or anything else like that. It's a little bit warm, but as I said, it's a warm ass day. So there you have it, guys. That's how it was to tune the FPV Syndicate Shredder. It was super easy. This frame is super nice, man. I definitely recommend you guys grab one of these if you're looking for a badass racer that just looks fucking cool and looks incredibly resilient. And having all the ASCs and everything mounted on the bottom is just an awesome bonus. I love that. So I'm gonna leave you guys with a final bit of just like me ripping this thing around here. I'm just gonna go fast because this is a racer. I'm not gonna be doing too much freestyle. I'm just gonna be driving this thing as fast as I can go and get some fun out of that way. So I hope you guys enjoyed the build and review series on the FPV Syndicate Shredder. Make sure you check out fpvsyndicate.com. Those guys are going to be coming out with some awesome stuff, including some 3-inch and some other stuff like that, so make sure you keep an eye on those guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this stuff, because I love bringing new content to you guys, and I just want to share more and more of this stuff with the community. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slaves will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slaves will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day